This is radio talk show host Deanne Burley, showing you the great beauty of Chicago. That's Marina City. We're going to look at Trump Towers right here. And then we're going to look at the great clock, the Wrigley clock right there. And I'm on Wacker Drive, which I shouldn't be on because I had a major illness. But this report needs to be reported due to the fact that nobody's talking about this subject. And I'm going to talk about it because, again, I'm a part of Scholars for 9/11, 9/11 Truth. And it seems as though we have a situation in Chicago that is kind of like not being touted in the press right now. Now, I'm walking down Wacker Drive, and as you see, the clock says 8:30. This is on Sunday. And we have 9/11, by the way, coming up real soon. And this is the reason why I'm doing this report. Because there was a major film that was on the internet given by ISIS of a place that was going to be attacked in a so-called new terrorist scenario that's supposed to happen. And I'm walking up on this place right now. Now again, this is 1 mag mile, the beginning of it. This is Wabash, and we're coming up to Wabash and the street, which is Wacker, or I'm sorry, South Water Street. As I walk up familiar turf, I used to work in this building right here, 135 East Wacker, way back in the day. And as I'm walking up, you see across the street, there's the Seventh Church of Christ, and it's a Christian Science church. And we're coming up on 41 East Wabash. Now this movie or video I'm putting up on YouTube, and Bob Jones, my co-host, will be covering this and will explain to him extensively what needs to be on the show, so you understand what's getting ready to go on. By the way, in Chicago, there's a bunch of signs, posters up all over the place, which I find interesting, seeking out volunteers for if there's a major event. Just find that kind of interesting that they have the signs up. Now, remember during Oklahoma City, the situation in New York, they put all kinds of barriers up to protect areas from alleged attacks. Now, according to the film I saw out there, stating that ISIS was going to come and target certain places in Chicago, I find it extremely interesting, the building that they're targeting. Now, I showed you earlier, over here is the beginning of the 1 mag mile area, and I'm going down Wabash, and Bob, my co-host, will cover this. I will tell him explicitly what to put on the air, because see, this is a very important story. Maybe not to you, but it should be, because see, the issue is, why are they targeting this one particular building, which I'm coming on? And that happens to be, by the way, on this street I'm on right now. Insignificant street to many. It's got reconstruction over here. That building, a friend of mine used to have a temp service in there. I used to work with his father used to work with my father. Anyway, that building shut down. And as we ease down the street, we're coming to Illinois Central, where Fox News is located. And we're at 65 East Wacker Drive. I just want to show you this. I'm sorry, 65 East Wacker Place. Now this is the building that houses Lease Financial Group. Now let me show you 65 East Wacker Place, Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. Nobody would want to be sincerely targeting that. But this particular building is 65 East Wacker, is a building that was in the video that ISIS said that they were targeting. Now I'm going to show you another thing. That Illinois Center building up there used to be the building that housed Lease Financial Group. Now I'll go into a more logical scenario of what Lease Financial Group is. Now, the other building that they may have shown in the video is this hotel, which is an obscure hotel. It's where Union Carbide used to be. It's an old building here. But that is not the building that just showed in that video that ISIS was going to target. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this to you is because I've been investigating Lease Financial Group, Northern Leasing, for a bunch of folks that have been coming to me complaining about fraud and malfeasance of everything you could think of going on with these people. Now, this is where the Hard Rock Hotel is, and it's just less than a couple of doors down. Now, Hard Rock Hotel has nothing significant that would cause somebody to cause an event. But Lease Financial Group, on the other hand, would. Now, Lease Financial Group, interesting enough, all their financial records for all the ill-gotten monies that they have been receiving from people that have merchant accounts all over, not only the United States, but outside, are housed in that one building, right down here off of the street here. Now, I had gone to Fox News, which is right in this building, it's 333 South Wacker, where I used to work a long time ago. I used to work at Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Anyway, went to them when they were fleeing out of their office space because of a senator, a state senator, was basically being harassed, and his bank account was breached by these people. So they fled out of that office right there in Illinois Center, and they moved over to this office over here, and they are still stealing money out of people's accounts. Now, I have talked about this. I've called the Attorney General of the state of Illinois, refuses to do anything about it. I contacted the Attorney General in New York about these folks, and they've been suing people in New York, saying that they have the legal right to do so, but the legal right to do so is not correct because their office is here in Illinois. They are not even a foreign company operating in Illinois because their corporation status was removed years ago. They also had a situation where the city of Chicago doesn't even recognize them as a business, but yet they occupy office space over there on this street, which is East Wacker Place. You see that sign right there, East Wacker Place. And they've been doing business out of there for years. I even went up to their offices. They were screwing around up there. Now the thing is, why is it Illinois is not investigating this? This is the thing that's amazing. These people have stolen 300,000 people's money out of their accounts. It's been allocated, it's been sued. The Attorney General in New York had filed a lawsuit in 2012 and one in 2013, several levels of billions of dollars from these folks, but they're still operating down there. And then all of a sudden, we have a camera photo shot from ISIS saying that they're going to attack that particular street, that particular building. Now, don't you think that they would have security around that building? Why is it just laying there open? Nobody's looking into anything. You know, heightened levels of so-called terrorism is being reported all over the news, and yet nobody's looking. Now, that whole building, by the way, has nothing else in it of significance. I went in that building. I went in there to see what the heck these people were doing. And the bottom line is the fact that, hey, isn't that what happened to Oklahoma City? Was the reason they bombed Oklahoma City was to get rid of certain records that were there that contributed to the information of what Enron was doing? Ah, yes, the IRS records were down there in Oklahoma City in that building, and a whole bunch of other fiduciary records were in that building. So now all of a sudden, ISIS, who happened to be trained by the CIA, is targeting a Chicago location in an obscure building and threatening to do who knows what. And I see no security around the building. And this is just a few days before 9/11. Now, when I worked at 233 North Michigan, over there in the same building with Fox Network, during the time just before 9/11 happened, that week on Friday, that particular building, the people had to evacuate the building because there was some strange toxic odor that was in the building making people sick. That was in the news in Illinois. Didn't make the news anywhere else. But I'm telling you this because there's some suspicious situations going on, and I think that you need to know this before anything happens. Again, my rule of thumb is if you put it in the media before anything happens, then it doesn't happen. Not the way they want it to happen. Because the fear technique, the thing to scare you to death, doesn't happen. Now, like I said, if something happens to that building, that's going to affect all these buildings down here on Michigan Avenue from Southwater all the way down to 1 Mile. Now, again, I don't see a heightened level of security around that particular building. You know, they have a YouTube video up with a terrorist attack threat made by this group. Now, why is it not being shown anywhere? And why isn't there, like, police around or any type of security around that particular building? Is it because maybe they want those records gone? Maybe that those fiduciary records over there in that company is not supposed to be in Chicago because, again, they're suing everybody out in New York. So my question to you is, how do they sue you in New York as a LLC when they don't have a properly listed LLC? The LLC was canceled years ago. Their business license in the city of Chicago was canceled. They have no right to do business out of or operate. Now, I called the city of Chicago years ago about that, and they basically told me in no terms that we don't get involved in that. We don't investigate. I even called up the Secretary of State's office and asked them about a defunct company operating business and defrauding people. And again, I was also turned away and told that, well, we don't get involved with that. We don't enforce anything. So who enforces stuff? Now, again, the same people that are over in that building are stealing money from people. That's what's being alleged. The Attorney General in New York had filed suit and won, and they had to pay the Attorney General off. And then there's 2-3 class action lawsuits filed against these same people for doing fraud, RICO, the one in California, 2 or 3 in New York, still being investigated. But the thing is, why are they still operating over here? How the heck are they suing people in New York when they actually are in Chicago? You go and ask a lawyer. If somebody doesn't have a corporation, does not have a business license, is not allowed really to do business, how do they operate, have their fiduciary records over in their office, and why is ISIS showing that building as a building being targeted in Illinois? Now, this is Deanne Burley. This is my report. Bob will explain more as I am still recovering and recuperating from my illness, but you need to listen to this because, again, a few more days, 9/11 will come again. And I'm a member of Scholars for 9/11, 9/11 Truth. And this is the truth. What are people doing about this? Are you okay with this? Just want to know. I'm signing off right now. This is Deanne Burley Report.